Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, are you guys ready to embrace the fact that you are the one you've been waiting for? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This one is the third book in our Shaman Heart series, you guys, and it's called We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. Before I introduce Natalie and Anthony to you today, I want to say a huge thank you to our lead authors. Stephanie Urbina Jones, Jeremy Pager, Jorge Luis Delgado, the three lead authors of this amazing book. It was a little bit more than a book. I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. Coming to Peru for our author's journey with all of our book authors under your leadership and guidance was, I don't know, trip of a lifetime, experience of a lifetime. And it takes a special kind of leader and healer to give an experience like that that's so transformational. I can't say enough about it. I know you guys are going to be like, oh yes, my gosh, we have so much to say about the trip that we took together. But we came back and crafted this beautiful book that we cannot wait to share with the world. So let me introduce these authors to you today. Dr. Anthony Wilson is a retired physician who specialized in hospital medicine and palliative care and hospice medicine. And since recently retiring, he became an author in 3 collaborative books. Natalie Peterson is with us today. She's a best-selling author, teacher, speaker, and mentor with 50 years of lived experience and extensive training in creating spaces for healing, curious humans to let go, explore their gloriously messy stories, and find deeper connection, community, and self-love. Welcome, you guys. How's it going?
Very good.
So good. So good.
I'm really happy to have you both here today. Let's talk about We Are the Ones We've Been Waiting For. Anthony, you're going to start the party off today. Take a minute to introduce your chapter and give us a little bit of the why behind it.
I am Dr. Anthony Wilson. I wrote chapter 20, Final Goodbye, Supportive Interventions for the Grieving Caregiver. And I learned through our trip to Peru that I was the one I was waiting for. I had been going through a lot of grief from the loss of my husband, and I found that there were interventions that I could do that really made a difference and that could help living with the grief that I was living with in a much more productive way. So I was living my best life while experiencing grief. And I wanted to be able to share that with other people to help other people who may be feeling like they're having a hard time going through a grief experience.
You know, I'm curious about a moment where you caught yourself maybe stuck in it a little bit. And, this is all about awareness, right? So you're waking up to the fact that something isn't going quite right. Do you remember when that was happening for you? How did you turn the corner of that awareness?
It was having a conversation about what my life was like with my husband often brought such tears that I couldn't finish the conversation. And then learning to start writing about my experience started helping me to process things. And I also learned through writing that I wasn't experiencing self love, self kindness, self compassion, gratitude, all of the things that are helpful. And yet I wasn't aware of it until I started writing and talking with other people about what I was writing and what I was experiencing.
If somebody's listening in the middle of a grief experience, what do you think is one of the most important things they should know about this journey?
That everyone's journey is their own, and there's no right or wrong way to do it or to be in grief. But learning to love yourself and putting yourself first is so crucial to helping you feel grounded and get started on your process of processing your grief.
Anthony, it was such a total honor to just be on the journey with you for the book, but on the literal journey in Peru as well. Thank you for your beautiful heart. And I just loved getting to know you a little bit better. It's, a trip does that to people, y'all. Like, there's a little bit of bonding that happens when we have to ride next to each other on the bus for hours and do all the things together. But I enjoyed it so much. And thank you for saying yes to this.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate being able to be a part of this opportunity.
So, Natalie, give us a little bit of your why now.
Ooh, I'm Natalie Peterson, and following Anthony is a total honor. I wrote chapter 26. It's called The Love I Could Not Carry. Breath and blessings for my womb space. And I would have to boil the why down to this very distinct awareness of being a female, but not having a direct connection to my femininity, and living a life disconnected from my femininity, unaware of that disconnection, put me into some pretty interesting and tight spots that until I found myself several months ago in the middle of a medicine journey, it all came together. It was a fast forward of a beautiful realization around being a female, and the thread through my life of taking care of my body, but also my feminine spirit. And the why came forward through just an immense healing that happened to go back and reclaim parts of my body and my spirit and come forward with that. It was just such a realization that it poured out of me. It needed to be shared. By the time I was done writing my chapter, it was less about the story and more about the connection, the embodiment I felt for probably one of the first times in my life. The power of writing that and putting it into words and pulling that thread through from my early teens through my 50s. It was next level. So
I'm just enjoying listening to you talk about the experience. It's given me goosebumps. While you weren't next to us on the bus in Peru, you were in my heart like every day. And I loved feeling that connection with you. And that happens. We had a handful of authors that weren't with us physically, but that were with us like in big energetic ways. I want to go back to something that you said that I'm curious about, because we hear a lot about the balance of masculine and feminine on this little healing journey that we're on. This gets talked about a lot. It gets written about a lot. But if somebody's listening and that topic is resonating a little bit, but they're looking for something maybe in themselves where they could notice and go, oh, maybe I need a little bit more of what she's talking about. Like what will they notice if something is going on that's maybe off?
yeah. As a culture, we have an understanding of femininity and masculinity that is very black and white, and you are either one or the other. And this is being, frankly, shoved down our throats and from so many different directions. I subscribe to the concept that all of us, each of us, hold a beautiful masculinity and femininity, the divine feminine, the divine masculine in our bodies. And the way that we balance those is a massive state of awareness. And I don't mean that it's impossible, but it does take a lot of awareness. We, each and every one of us, have these beautiful divine powers within us. And in my life, in my upbringing, I understood that masculinity was the only way to get things done. And so I drove for most of my life hard, getting things done, until I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. And my feminine side, my nurturing side, the side that I needed to lean into to actually nurture my own self-love, was borderline non-existent. And it just didn't work anymore. It was a longing that I had to be female, to be feminine, to be nurturing, to be soft, to know that that is beautiful, as beautiful, equally beautiful. And I have been nurturing that ever since. It doesn't mean that masculine's bad. It doesn't mean that it's not a gender, it's none of that. It is simply our divine balance of feminine and masculine power, and every single one of us has it in us. So
thank you for helping with that question. It can feel complicated sometimes. I have a huge thank you to both of you for saying yes to this project, and not just for that, but like, you both took the challenge I gave you to write your hearts on those pages. And your stories were absolutely beautiful, phenomenal. There was healing in those words. And then you step up as the master teachers that you are in the second piece of this chapter, and generously gave us your medicine, these strategies and tools. And for you readers who pick up the book, you're going to have an incredible resource of practical exercises you can do. And I don't know, you both did this so brilliantly. It's one thing to do it every day for your clients, but it's quite another when someone says, hey, get it in black and white on the page so that the person has an experience with it, right? And you guys did it so well. And I'm very grateful to all of our authors for that. So Natalie, I am going to start with you for this next question. You know, when we embrace the idea that we are the ones we've been waiting for, that journey is very unique to each one of us. That's evident in the book with all of your beautiful stories. Give us an idea about what that's meant for you, a personal example of, oh yeah, I'm the one I've been waiting for.
that's a great question, Laura. I think that I've lived most of my life looking for external answers to all the fidgets and quirks in my physical and emotional and spiritual body, right? Looking for a salve, a band-aid, a quick fix, a magic bullet, fill in the words. I spent the first few years of my own marked with sobriety as a starting point. The first few years of sobriety from alcohol, just head first buried in self-help. You would have found me in the section of Barnes and Noble, holed up with a blankie and a pillow. I could not consume enough, but there was nothing there for me. No matter how much I ate, and I just could not find. I took tests. I did, show me something. And until I had this beautiful just awareness of, it's time to put all of this help aside. You have got so many tools. You have got so much awareness on how everybody else does it. It's time now to figure out what your own, in my words, cocktail is here. What is it that's going to give you some relief? You've got some fantastic options. In my world, I say start where you are. And I finally let myself do that. And it was a handout to somebody in this beautiful group that I reached out to and said, I like what you're doing. I love what it looks like on you. Please tell me more. And the rest is three of these collaborations ago. So yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so unique. When we titled this book, We're the Ones We've Been Waiting For, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I can't wait to hear what that means for people, right? And it's why I love this interview question too. So Anthony, I'm coming at you with the same question. Give us an idea about what that means to you personally.
I think that for me, especially having my husband die at age 58 and I was 57, and it felt like the world was conspiring against us. We never even got a chance to retire, and we had all these plans in retirement and for the rest of our lives. And that created this feeling of being the victim, and that everything was out of control and out of my control. And I believed that I was a victim, and I had circulating thoughts about this victimhood. And until I realized that I was the one that I've been waiting for, until I said to myself that no, this is something I'm experiencing, I'm not a victim, that I can choose what I believe about myself. I can choose what I believe about my situation, and I can choose to engage repetitive negative thinking, or I can engage repetitive positive thinking that helps me to deal with and cope with things in a much more constructive way. And that was the awareness that came about as I started realizing that I am the one that I've been waiting for. And I don't need other people to come in and see what's wrong with me and then fix me. I can take care of myself and ask for help when I need help, but also care for myself in many different ways that I wasn't caring for myself.
I love that. So I'm a little bit of a mindset geek. So when you said, I can choose to engage in either repetitive negative or repetitive positive thinking, like I get to choose. Oh, yes, that's everything. Has been everything for me too, in terms of my definition of this, you guys. Like when I figured out that with the awareness, I had the choice, it was a huge amount of responsibility and freedom. The taking responsibility for all those thoughts was the freedom. And it feels so overwhelming at first. Like, do I really want all that response? Yes, you do. Like, because then you get to
Mhm.
choose, right? Okay. So Anthony, what do you think is the most important thing you want people to know about supporting a caregiver?
I want to share that everybody's experience is different, and that it can be really hard for some people to ask for help. And it can really be hard for a caregiver to feel like it's okay to ask for help. A lot of times we feel like we need to be strong, we need to do everything that we can on our own. And I think it's really important that we learn not only to be there for ourselves and to be strong and to have that awareness that we can engage or not engage in the thoughts that come into our head, but also that it's tremendous when we're able to reach out to others and ask for help and allow others to be our support and to raise us up when we're falling down. It's okay to need others, and that no man's an island, no woman's an island. We're all interconnected. And I think that knowing that we're all interconnected is really important for care so that they can ask for help and that they can also give more of themselves.
I mean, I think you're hitting on something that is the mark of the best caregivers is that you have the ability to reach out and get. So, I mean, you get to fill your cup so you can keep giving. I mean, that's the thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that. I love it. This chapter that you wrote about this topic was so beautiful. And so I felt your heart. This is going to help a lot of people. If you guys are in caregiving for someone, gosh, I don't know anyone who isn't right now. I mean, we all have these different stages of life where we're caring for somebody. You're going to really love Anthony's chapter. So,
Thank you.
yeah, my pleasure. I mean, think of the gift of the book in general, you guys, like all of our co-author friends who, you know, like you two, poured their hearts and souls onto the pages and really are helping with all of the unique ways that we need to talk about this topic, but all of the unique tools as well, all the medicine. It's quite a gift, this book. Natalie, what's the most important thing you want people to know about the beauty of your womb space?
Anthony said something earlier that struck me, and I grief is just, gosh, just a really big emotion. And grief has come to mean for me love unrealized. And if I take that and, excuse me, I go back through, you know, my own life and the different pieces of it that I abandoned myself or didn't take the extra care that I would today to make sure that I was putting myself in the best situation. The womb space is a place of creativity. The womb space is where a woman gives life to not only humans but also to ideas, to to big, seemingly impossible ideas. And both men and women have womb space. It's called the second chakra. And it's a beautiful, beautiful space in our body that glows when it's activated, glows and creates almost ember fire-like, just your imagination just starts to sparkle with the possibilities of creation when you connect with your womb space. And so my hope is that anyone that picks up my book, no matter their background, or picks up my chapter, no matter their background or their perspective or the way that they're coming into it, that they develop a realization around such an integral part of both their physical and spiritual body. Yes.
You made me think of the book cover colors when you talked about that chakra. It comes alive. Just wait till you guys see this, right? These beautiful spark embery, fiery. Love it. I love it. Okay, last question for both of you today. Natalie, I'm going to start with you. You know, this journey of healing can be completely overwhelming many, many times, many days. You wake up in overwhelm and it just doesn't seem clear, the path forward. What do you want to share with our listeners about that if they are just looking for a very simple place to start?
I mentioned start where you are as my own quick saying. It's quick and it sounds easy. It can be a little daunting because where do I start? I'm here. Where do I start? And I would say to those that are wondering is to listen to what gets said in those first few seconds after you ask the question, and then trust your gut and trust your intuition and trust the knowing that is inherent to you as a beautiful, beautiful being on the face of this planet, going through all of this wonderful, glorious mess. Your own healing starts from exactly where you are. And that may look like picking up the phone. That may look like showing up at the back of the room to listen. That may mean reaching out and putting a hand on a shoulder and saying, I see you. So starting where you are and then being completely open to where that takes you would be my ultimate advice at this point.
Beautiful. Thank you. Anthony, what are you going to say to someone who might be in the middle of that overwhelm thing?
I think from my own experience, even from preparing to be on the show today, but in my own life, when I can come back to being present, when I can come back to being here right now, when I can feel my feet on the floor, and when I can feel myself taking a breath in and a breath out, and when I can center myself in this moment, letting go of my fears of the future and letting go of all the stuff that's happened in the past and my analysis of all that stuff, and be here now. When you're in overwhelm, being here now and present and feeling your body is an amazing way to become centered so that you can be okay in this moment. And this moment is all that we have. And we learned that many of the things that we're afraid of that might happen in the future often don't happen. And we can't fix the stuff that's happened in the past. So being here right now in our present moment and in our present body is where we're most able to find that peace that we need in order to be with ourselves right now and whatever's happening in our lives.
Yes. I'll, you guys are the best. I'll take Natalie's start where you are and go to Anthony's, and that's here right now. so that's it, right? Like that's the small miracle of it. Take that breath. Somebody said to me one day, remember you have feet. Like, come on down, like ground yourself, right? Because we're also up in our head, neck, and shoulders all day, overthinking everything. Oh my goodness. Natalie Peterson, Dr. Anthony Wilson, thank you so much for what you do in the world. And thank you for being here today to share it with everyone. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Laura.
Laura.
So hop on over to Amazon, you guys, because the book is ready. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I've got the Amazon link down below. Listen, maybe something that you heard today gave you the goosebumps, or you have a question, or you need support on these topics. This is way more than a book. It is a generous community of people who care. So come on down into the show notes. I have Natalie and Anthony both hooked up with their links there. And we are all here for you if you need to ask a question. Maybe you want to carry on the conversation, or maybe you do need a little bit of support. Please go explore their links, see what they're up to. It's a lot of awesomeness. And if you're listening with enough time, you can join our book launch party, which is going to be on Zoom with all of our authors. March 7th, 11 a.m. Eastern. I've got the information down below for that as well. Lastly, today, everyone, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.